Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett and thank you for spending some time with me today because in this video, we are talking about small kitchens and making them feel a little bit bigger, feel more open, but definitely be more usable. If you have a small kitchen, use some of these tips. Now, the first one we have to discuss, something you can do to your kitchen that will make it feel bigger and make it feel just more relaxing is actually to use a color scheme that is a little bit more cohesive or limited in the space. What happens with small spaces is when we bring a bunch of stuff into them, they feel cluttered and they feel busy. And a kitchen is one of those areas it happens in the fastest. So using a color scheme that's a little bit more refined in terms of the number of colors you're using will easily make your space feel less busy, therefore more open and more polished. Now that doesn't mean it has to be a neutral color. Like if your kitchen's all pink, roll with it. Like add in all pink, use all pink accessories and cookware. Most people don't have a pink kitchen, so that's beside the point. But if your kitchen is all white, let's not add too many contrasting colors into it because they will be an immediate and easy distraction. We will look straight at them. And if we have something on every countertop and every surface, it's going to look and feel cluttered and busy and smaller than it actually is. So by limiting the color schemes you use in the space, you can easily elevate it. An example would be if I have white countertops, I am going to use a white backsplash. I like countertops and backsplashes to match. They don't have to be the same material, but I want them to match so it just feels brighter, more open. And the same is also true if you're doing black countertops. Use a black backsplash. That way it feels more consistent. There's flow there. By using one color, you're not gonna have a lot of breaking points in contrast. Now, if you wanted to add a second color into the mix, you could do that. If you have black lower cabinetry or wooden lower cabinetry that feels a little darker and heavier, up top, I'm gonna go with something lighter and brighter. That way it feels a little more open. It feels a little heavier down below. Lighter up top is going to make the space feel more open and bigger. And that's a trick to use in a very small kitchen, maybe a galley kitchen where you have two sides of it. You want it to feel more open. By using brighter colors up top, it will definitely feel more open and it bounces more light throughout the space. Now, if you want to add a focal point moment, a statement in a kitchen, yes, you use a contrasting element. Use something that matches either the flooring, that matches the stainless steel of the appliances, or the wood tone used in the rest of the home. That's a good way to add in a contrasting element that will keep the flow moving and feel fluid in a space. That's a big takeaway for small spaces in general, be it a kitchen or any other space. We want the space to feel like we can easily pass through it, like we can digest it quickly and visually easily. That way it does not feel busy, cluttered, and dense and full, and therefore small. While we're on the topic of clutter and busyness and all of the things in a kitchen, one of the easiest ways to maximize the usability and storage in your kitchen is by actually going through the things you have, pulling all of them out and seeing what you have there, and then deciding either what you're keeping or what form of storage is going to be the best for you and for that area. Listen, I could be showing you all sorts of kitchen storage baskets and drawer slides and all of that stuff, but this isn't a sales video. If you're interested in those pieces, check out my Amazon storefront linked in the description box down below. But I'm not a particularly large fan of having pull-out drawer slides in a cabinet with a door on it because why do I need to open a door to pull out a drawer? Make it make sense to me. I'd rather just have a drawer. These are things you need to be thinking about and being mindful about in a kitchen when it comes to storage, especially in a small space. Declutter, refine the amount of things you have, choose things and select them that feel intentional, that make sense with the color scheme of the built-in elements of the kitchen, and then figure out what sort of storage mechanism is going to best take advantage of your cabinets. Open all of them up and look for dead spots and spaces in them that, they're just hollow, they're empty, there's nothing there. And then start thinking about what can I add in there? Maybe that's an additional stainless steel hanging shelf in a cabinet. Maybe it is a rack to store your coffee cups hanging. A lot of cabinetry has dead space above the shelves where there's nothing going on. That's a good place to take advantage and add additional storage space by using some of these little storage tricks and hacks that people share, people have come up with, and that you can purchase, like organizers online to take full advantage of them. Now, if you have any big time storage hacks you've used in your kitchen that have changed the storage game, be sure you share with us in the comment section down below so everyone can check it out and get some ideas there. Speaking of getting some ideas for your space, if you need help with either decorating, renovating, organizing, or taking advantage of some of the space in your home, and you need a little bit of extra help, I have got you covered. You can always book a one-on-one virtual consultation with me where you can show me around your home and I can answer questions about any of the design needs you have, be it a smaller kitchen, a living room, a bathroom, a bedroom, any of those spaces. I've got you covered. So be sure you head to the link in the description box down below or go to intro.co/GarrettLeChic and I'll see you over there. Now, a common concern I get from people is that in their small kitchens, they feel they cannot do the same things or use the same materials or ideas as a large kitchen, and it simply is not true. There are so many things you can do in a small kitchen that you can also do in a big kitchen, because at the end of the day, a material is just a material. The marble in the big kitchen is a marble in a small kitchen. It's literally the same material. The type of cabinetry, the style of door, all of those things are the same. But what I think is really advantageous to do in a small space that, yeah, you could do in a large space, but if you've got enough room, it doesn't really matter, does it? Are built-in appliances. Built-in appliances are beautiful because they're, they blend in, they're a little bit more simplified in their design, and it really stops the distraction of the space, but also it allows you to completely maximize the space you have. By going with something that's a little more customized, you can really fit in and take full advantage of every inch of space you have. For example, like corner cabinets, right? There's always like an unused space in a corner cabinet. Well, if you go with something a little more built in, you can add a pull out that rounds a corner and takes more advantage of that wasted space in corners of kitchens. Genius. Built-in appliances are very similar. A refrigerator, oven, microwave, all of these things, they're busy and they are distracting. And so if we can kind of refine that a little bit and pull it back a little bit, it will make your space feel less busy and look less cluttered, but also add a little bit more utility. And you're probably like, Garrett, what does that even mean? Okay, like, what are you even talking about? It's the same amount of space, right? Here's an example, okay? In a kitchen, a built-in refrigerator, a non-built-in refrigerator is going to be big and heavy. It's going to be stainless steel and all of these things. Well, a built-in refrigerator that has a panel ready, a door on it, is going to blend in and disappear a little bit. And that really opens up a space and softens it, especially if you're using lighter tones, because a heavy, dark stainless steel refrigerator is going to be distracting. And an oven, for example, is, it's built right under a cooktop, right? If you're getting a one-piece unit, it's right there. There's no moving it. There's no shifting it. You have wasted space underneath it where usually it's like a pan drawer that nobody uses because I'm not getting on my hands and knees to get my dishes out of the cabinets. That's weird. Okay. So having it be built in, you can integrate a microwave above it. And so now you don't have a microwave on the countertop, and you can add drawers under the cooktop where you can put oversized pots and pans that are easier to access. That's adding a lot more functionality and utility. And then above that oven microwave combination, we can have a large oversized pantry cabinet that we're either using for dry goods and food, or you could use for seasonal dishes and things that you don't have to access all of the time, or a combination of those things. It adds a little bit more utility, a little more functionality, and that little bit of difference makes the world of difference in a small kitchen. Every inch of space you can add matters. And so adding more functionality into those couple of little inches you have there in that small, teeny tiny kitchen really makes the biggest difference. A known area of wasted space in a kitchen is oftentimes the dining space, where you're actually sitting down to eat after you've already done all of the things you're doing in the kitchen to cook the food. And so this is something that, well, we kind of all need somewhere to sit and eat, right? Maybe you're sitting in bed and eating. I don't know. I don't judge, but that's beside the point. In a small kitchen, you often don't have any sort of built-in seating area in these sort of like micro spaces. For example, in a very small apartment, you may get, 6 feet of kitchen where you have a refrigerator, a sink, and an oven, and that's it. Well, we need to add additional actual usable counter space into those areas. So looking at something that's either built in or freestanding that does that is going to be a really advantageous way for you to add more countertop space, but not compromise on losing seating. And what I mean by this is what is a big trend right now that I actually think is a very good design idea, not just a trend, is to have counter height seating with a countertop. Now that's not my favorite thing in the world because I just don't like counter height seating. Okay, like I refuse. I'm not gonna do that. So that's just me personally. But if you have that limitation set on you where you just don't have another option to add more counter space into your kitchen, this is a good way to do it. You can have your seating and you can have your countertop space. You can have your cake and eat it too, which is also what you could make in your kitchen using the additional countertop space, and that is a slay, and I love that for you. If you have made it this far in the video, I hope you are seeing the value in the content, and I would greatly appreciate if you took a moment, hit the subscribe button and joined us. You can also pull out your phone and open up your camera, scan this QR code. It will take you directly to my channel page where you can hit the subscribe button, and we would love to have you as a part of our GarrettLeChic family. I'd also greatly appreciate if everyone watching could take a moment and give this video a like and give it a little bit of hype to get it shared across the platform. Now, I don't often say this about smaller kitchens, but sometimes you're better off losing a little bit of storage than you are keeping it to further the design of the space and the actual functionality of it. And there's one very specific area I have to talk to you about because it doesn't make any sense to me. I have a personal vendetta against it, but that's beside the point, and that is cabinetry above a sink. In a lot of smaller kitchens, you don't always have the option of having a sink in an island or a sink in front of a window. What a lot of builders do is just throw a cabinet there, just throw a cabinet right up there. I'm not sitting in front of a sink doing dishes with a cabinet like 2 inches from my face, okay? I'm gonna be like, oh, was something in the drain, lean forward, smash my head into the cabinet. Absolutely not. It's not happening to me. I'm not the one, and I never will be. So that is a space I think you can take advantage of in a kitchen to make it feel a little more open and a little more spacious, especially in a smaller kitchen. Now, some people will be like, that's sacrilegious. No, you can't lose a cabinet in a kitchen, but there are some things that are worth compromising on. So for me in a small kitchen, if I was in a home that had that, fortunately I have a window above my sink and it lets in fabulous amount of light, and I love that for me, but that's beside the point. I would be looking to do anything I could to open that space up above a sink. I would look at floating shelves there, maybe not full depth, maybe they're slightly more shallow shelves where I could store maybe glassware and drinkware or something like that, free up some additional cabinetry space somewhere else and do that. I'd be looking at installing a plate rack behind that area there to get some additional storage there. And if you have a kitchen where you're like, you know what, I could probably shift some things around and, free up some space there, you could do an interesting backsplash material. I have a client right now who's doing a mirror behind her sink, and it's gonna be gorgeous. And how it efficiently opens up this space and makes it feel bigger, even though you're losing a little bit of storage, is because you just have that extra open space there where we can see additional vertical lines, where we have some extra opening there. It just makes things feel more open, and it also makes them feel more comfortable. Like I said, if I'm standing there doing dishes, I don't want to have something 2 inches from my face. Okay, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's gonna set off my anxiety. I'm gonna feel like I'm claustrophobic doing this. Absolutely not. I want that to be a little more open. So having even just an extra couple of inches there, if I did shelves there or something like that, would make it feel so much more open and more usable and be a space I would actually want to use. When we talk about small kitchens, as I have mentioned already in this video multiple times, it's about clutter. It's about refining the space. It's about reducing the amount of items that you have there that are looking and feeling busy. And there's also certain things you can do that will make it feel a little more usable and a little cleaner in that space. And one of the key places you have that most people do not take advantage of in a kitchen, especially small kitchens, is the space under your cabinetry. Under your upper cabinetry, you should be thinking about adding outlets and receptacles and lighting. These are really, really good things to add into any kitchen, especially a small kitchen, because you actually get more for them than you think you do. Task lighting is always great, but adding layered lighting into a space is always a good idea. One of my top recommendations I always make to clients: we need lamps, we need all of these things. If you have LED lighting under your cabinetry, you don't need some of those things. Boom, we just saved you a little bit of extra space there. What you can also do is add plugs under the cabinetry. And a lot of people have feelings about this one way or another. Some people love it, some people hate it. People love it because you don't have outlets in the backsplash. That cleans it up and refines the look a little bit. But some people don't like it because then when you have to plug something in, you have a plug hanging from under your cabinetry, which I understand could look a little ridiculous. What most people don't mention is the fact that a lot of these sort of plug strips that go under cabinets have more plugs in them than you would have gotten in your backsplash, right? Like an outlet for a plug, you either have 2 or 4 and they take up a lot of space, but recessed under a cabinet in that same spot, you could have 5 or 6. And then you can do that 2 or 3 different areas. Like you could have 20 things plugged in your kitchen at one time, effectively, if you add enough plugs in under your cabinets to do this with, and your backsplash isn't just covered in a bunch of plugs. Those are all things that are really efficient and make more functionality, make more usable space in your kitchen, and also just clean up the look a little bit. Doing those 2 things already is enough to really heighten the usability of a small kitchen, but adding in all of these elements could take your kitchen from small and tiny and unusable to a masterclass in great small space design. Now, there are also some things in a kitchen that people will tell you are dated and you need to get rid of, you need to rip them out, and some of these things you're probably thinking, I can't do in my kitchen because I already have these and I can't do a renovation. That's okay. Sometimes dated kitchens are actually the best. Check out this video right over here all about some dated features in kitchens that you should absolutely be looking out for and keeping and cherishing, and don't let them go. I will see you over there.